All of my Chris Cuomo fans out there, hey, it's me, Chrissy C. All my Chris Cuomo fans, which, judging by the analytics and the metrics across all of his platforms, there's only a few dozen of you guys left. But I am speaking directly to you this morning. What do you want me to give you first? Do you want the good news or the bad news? Now, me personally, I always like to hear the bad news first, but since there's been so much bad news in Cuomo Nation over the last 2 years, since Chrissy has been residing in a world of constant depression, it's been quite a while since his lonely male followers have received a shirtless selfie with that sexy cigar firmly placed in his facial orifice. Ooh, look how his lips touch that cigar. Oh, how I desire to be the paper wrapping that tobacco just to get the chance to touch Chrissy's lips. With the constant negativity surrounding him the last 2 years, I figured I could do my part, help him out, and give you guys the good news first. The good news is, Chris Cuomo has more than doubled his ratings since his show on NewsNation premiered last fall. This is incredible! I knew my sexy cigar would return to prominence. No one can resist the charisma. No one can resist the charm of Chrissy C. Now hold on. Don't get too excited. Even though his ratings have increased, Chris Cuomo is still contending with Bomani Jones for the title of Huge Embarrassing Failure. Last week presented a golden opportunity for media personalities who are building their platform outside of legacy media. The opportunity was the firing of Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson, mainly Tucker Carlson. Poor Donnie. News of his firing lasted, about 10 seconds in the news cycle before he was completely overshadowed by Tucker Carlson, someone who actually matters, someone who people care about. My inside sources tell me Donnie remains in good spirits, which, come on, that's good to hear. I received an update last week. Donnie was enjoying pina coladas on the beach in Guatemala, sitting under an umbrella snuggling with his emotional support shovel. Oh, Sammy, my mainstream media career is over. Where do I go from here? Don't worry, Donnie, I've got you covered. I happen to be the perfect garden tool for digging comfortable accommodations in the woke cemetery. Last week, the smart media personalities outside of legacy media, they took advantage of the situation. Newsmax doubled the size of their audience. Eric the Bowler went from 150,000 viewers to over 500,000. Megyn Kelly saw a drastic increase in viewership here on YouTube. So did Glenn Beck. Both MSNBC and CNN took advantage, finally beating Fox News in the 25 to 54 demo. Everybody was taking viewers away from Fox News, except Chris Cuomo. Last Monday night, he finally managed to make the top 150 on cable. Now, I haven't kept up with his ratings too much since we last talked about Chrissy. I guess that was a couple of months ago. But to my knowledge, this is the first time he made the chart since joining NewsNation. Of course, by Tuesday night, he was back to his usual spot next to Bomani Jones, off the charts. Ratings for Chris Cuomo are so bad, The Daily Show consistently doubles the size of his audience. The Daily Show! The show on Comedy Central that for the last few months has been trying out random huge embarrassing failures, trying to convince anyone to take over that dump. Chris Cuomo went from hosting the #1 show in cable news, a top 5 show on cable television, to ranking outside of the top 400. He doesn't even have the #1 show on his own network, NewsNation, a network that literally no one is watching. And Chris Cuomo can't beat out reruns of Blue Bloods. How does this happen? How can someone go from #1 to number 449 in less than 2 years? When Chris Cuomo launched his show on NewsNation along with his horrific podcast, The Chris Cuomo Project, he told anyone willing to listen, I have changed. For the last 10 years, you have seen the fake Chris Cuomo. Now I'm giving you the real deal, the real Chris Cuomo. I now choose to identify as Chrissy C. Last week, while Eric the Bolling and Megyn Kelly were blasting Fox News for firing Tucker Carlson, Chris Cuomo, he decides to play it safe, which is absolutely astounding when you think about it. I don't know if he's all of a sudden afraid to attack Fox News. Maybe he is hoping they'll give him Tucker Carlson's old time slot. If that's the case, I've got news for Chris Cuomo. That ain't never going to happen. Last Monday night, he dedicated a 5-minute segment to talking about Tucker Carlson. It was 5 of the most boring minutes I have ever seen on cable news. Like I said, Chris Cuomo chose to play it safe. A couple of days later, he was sitting behind the desk on the set of the epic failure known as the Chris Cuomo Project. This time, he was talking about his former partner in the Butt Bongo band, Donnie Lemon. For years, Chrissy and Donnie, they were the ultimate power couple. During their time together at CNN, they proudly flaunted the symptoms of OMB, Orange Man Bad. They spent many late nights together engaging in pillow talk. Donnie, my wife can never find out about our relationship. That's okay, Chrissy. Neither can my shovel. Now you would think Chris Cuomo would have a lot to say about the firing of Don Lemon. At minimum, he could provide his audience with an insider, a former insider's perspective. I know they went through a bad breakup. I know it's probably painful to talk about his former partner. But this dude was in a unique position to give a perspective that no one else could. What does Chris Cuomo do? He uses the firing of Don Lemon as an opportunity to lecture his audience. Watch for yourself.
Well, but are you guys going to do this? You're going to be honest, is it really your business, right? How we are, or what happens next, or that you'll know when you know. If it matters to you enough that you find out about it. But why would you care? Why would you traffic in that kind of stuff? Don't do it. It doesn't make your life any better. It doesn't. It doesn't help you. And the bigger lesson that actually matters about, you want to know what I learned about my CNN experience, my relationships there, the people, is you got to learn what you control and what you don't. And what you can forgive, you should.
Unbelievable. Could you be any more of an elitist? You want to lecture your audience for reacting to the firing of Don Lemon? I'm not sure Chris Cuomo is aware of this. This is a business. Don Lemon's media career is on life support. No, Don Lemon's media career has vanquished. It's done. Right now, he needs people talking about him. He needs people to care. And you want to lecture your audience for talking about the firing of a public figure? You want to tell them it's none of their business? This is the reason your ratings suck. This is why you're battling Bomani Jones for the title of huge embarrassing failure. Chris Cuomo has this arrogance about him. It's this elitist attitude that he's better than you. He knows better than you, which is the complete opposite of what you need to succeed in the business of television. You build an audience by relating to people. Who can relate to Chris Cuomo? This dude missed a golden opportunity to take viewers away from Fox News. Last week, millions of people were looking for a news source. Some found Eric Bolling, some found Glenn Beck, some found Megyn Kelly. No one found Chris Cuomo. Last Monday, for the first time in almost 2 months, he finally surpassed 200,000 viewers. Nearly 100,000 additional people gave Chris Cuomo a chance last Monday night. 24 hours later, he manages to lose half of them. This is what playing it safe gets you. You cannot play it safe. This dude is living in a delusion. Now, this is just speculation, but I think Chris Cuomo actually believes that he has a chance to get back into legacy media. When I say legacy media, I'm talking about the major conglomerates, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, the broadcast networks like CBS and ABC. When he was at CNN, he built his career by attacking Fox News. When they fire their biggest story in the media, Chris Cuomo is basically silent about it. Let me tell you how arrogant, how delusional Chris Cuomo actually is. I'm going to give you 2 examples. A couple of weeks ago, this dude gets on Twitter and says, I just got stopped at a red light in Manhattan. The guy next to me had the Chris Cuomo Project blaring through his speakers. This is too funny. What? The only thing funny about this is you thinking anyone actually believes that bullshit. There is absolutely no chance that actually happened. This dude is so desperate for relevance. Chris Cuomo is begging for attention. Part of me wants to feel bad for the guy. Even though his brother Andy is revolting, I actually respect Chris Cuomo for sacrificing his career at CNN to stand by his brother. Instead of using that to his advantage, this dude consistently proves why people never liked him to begin with. He followed up that delusional tweet with another lecture to his audience. He wanted to prove that he's multi-talented. I am all-knowing. I am omnipresent. The grave in the woke cemetery could not detain the king of delusion. Not only is Chris Cuomo a veteran in the media, not only is he one of the worst celebrity interviewers, Chrissy C is also an expert in the area of self-help. Yeah. The guy who has spent the last 2 years on a downward spiral, the guy who admitted just 2 months ago that he was in a constant state of depression, that guy wants to tell you how to improve your life. He starts his self-help segment by saying, have you done a personal inventory lately? I want you to examine your life. Do you like your friends? Are you happy in your marriage? Do you enjoy your work? Me personally, my job is the worst part of my life. I am in the business of attracting viewers, and I cannot convince a shovel to clean up a fresh pile of whoopee flatulence. If you're unhappy with your life, I encourage you to follow me, Chrissy C. I will take you to the promised land. Is it any surprise that Chris Cuomo ranks outside the top 200 when it comes to news podcasts? This dude has mainstream name recognition. He interviews A-list celebrities, and his YouTube audience is drastically smaller than this dumbass you're watching right now. We have not talked about Chris Cuomo in a while, mainly because he hasn't done anything relevant. But when we do talk about him, I feel like I end every video the same way. Chris Cuomo, your media career is over. You're never getting hired by Fox News. You're never going back to CNN. You're not diverse enough to be hired at MSNBC. Some people see their media careers end because they lack authenticity. People can't trust them. Chris Cuomo has the opposite problem. I'll give him credit. He said we're going to see the real Chris Cuomo, and we have seen the real Chris Cuomo. The problem is, the real Chris Cuomo is unlikable. He can make all the excuses that he wants. My ratings are low because NewsNation is hard to find. My ratings are low because NewsNation is a struggling platform. No, your ratings are low because people do not like you. It has never been more accessible to build your own platform. It's not easy, especially for people like me who have to build their brand from the ground up. Chris Cuomo had a head start. He was already a household name. He can blame anyone he wants, but the only person to blame for his huge embarrassing failure status is Chris Cuomo himself. But give me your thoughts. Chris Cuomo decides to play it safe. He fails to take advantage of the Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson firings. Do you think he was angling for a job at Fox News? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.